Hey, welcome. If you are a high achieving woman over 45, a CEO, an executive, an entrepreneur, a leader of some kind, and your body feels like it's working against you instead of for you, I need you to stay right here because this masterclass was made specifically for you. I'm talking to the woman who has built something incredible. You run organizations, you lead teams, you show up for everyone, and yet somehow you wake up exhausted. Your brain feels foggy, your weight won't move no matter what you do. You feel inflamed, you feel off, and every doctor you've gone to has looked at your labs and said, everything is fine. Everything is normal. And you sit in that office thinking, normal? This is not normal. I used to have energy. I used to feel sharp. I used to feel like myself. Sis, I hear you. And I'm here to tell you your body is not broken, but you have been given the wrong information, the wrong tools, and in some cases, the wrong diagnosis. And that ends today. Okay? So, in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to give you the most comprehensive, honest breakdown of why your body is struggling and exactly what needs to happen to fix it. No fluff, no supplements to sell you, no diet culture, just real medicine, real science, and a real roadmap. Stay to the end because I'm going to share something that could completely change the trajectory of your health and your life. Let's go. Now, before we dive in, let me tell you who I am and why you should trust anything that I say. My name is Dr. Tasheema Fair. People call me Dr. T for short. I'm a board certified OBGYN with over 20 years of experience in women's health. I am also a retired U.S. Army colonel. I spent over 2 decades serving this country while also serving women medically. And I am an executive wellness strategist who works specifically with high achieving women, women just like you, who are over 45 and feel like their body has turned on them. Okay? Now, here's the truth. Now, here's the thing my background that makes me different from most doctors, okay, that you've seen. I'm not just trained in OBGYN. I am trained to look at your body as a system. Hormones don't work in isolation. Inflammation doesn't work in isolation. Your thyroid doesn't work in isolation. Everything is connected. And most conventional medicine treats you like you're just a collection of separate problems. When in reality, you're one system that is asking for a different kind of care. Now, I sat across hundreds of women who came to me after seeing 5, 10, sometimes 15 other providers. Women who are told their labs were normal while they were suffering. Women who were put on antidepressants when the real problem was their hormones. Women who were told, oh, just eat less and move more, when the real problem was insulin resistance. Women who were dismissed, minimized, and sent home with nothing. Listen, that is not going to happen here, okay? Because what I'm going to share with you is what I teach inside my private program, the Empowered Wellness Accelerator. The two executive women who are ready to stop guessing and start healing. And I'm giving you the core of that today, completely free, because I believe that access to real information changes lives. So settle in, grab a pen, real piece of paper. This is real medicine. Let's do this. Okay? Let's get it. Maybe you're asking, like, what is she gonna teach me today? I'm gonna tell you. Here's what we're covering today. I want you to know exactly what you're getting so you can stay focused, okay? Number one, I'm going to break down the 5 root causes that are keeping you stuck. These are the 5 things that are almost always driving exhaustion, weight gain, brain fog, inflammation, and hormonal chaos in women over 45. I guarantee, at least 3 of them apply to you. Number 2, I'm going to explain why everything you've tried, the diets, the cleanses, the supplements, the workouts, the stretch management apps, hasn't worked. And it's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you're solving the wrong problem. Number 3, I'm going to introduce to you my 5 root reset framework. This is the exact approach I use with my private clients, executive women who come to me as a last resort and leave with their lives fundamentally changed forever. Okay? Number 4, at the end, I'm going to tell you about an opportunity to have me personally guide you through this transformation over the next 12 months. Now, I'm going to be giving you a lot of value today. You're not going to want to multitask through this. So sit down, focus, take some notes, and at the end, if what I share resonates with you, I want you to apply to work with me directly. Okay? All right. Let's get started with the 5 root causes. Okay? Number 1, hormonal imbalance. This is like the floor. This is your foundation of everything. When women over 45 come to me feeling exhausted, moody, unable to lose weight, brain fog, and just off, okay? The first thing we look at, or I look at, is hormones, specifically the interplay between estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Here's what most people don't understand. Perimenopause, the transition period before menopause, can begin as early as your mid to late 30s. But most women don't get that information until they're already in the middle of it, feeling terrible, wondering what happened, okay? Now, during perimenopause, estrogen doesn't just smoothly drop off or smoothly decline. It fluctuates wildly. It spikes, it crashes. And that roller coaster effect affects everything. Your sleep, your mood, your metabolism, your cognitive function, your inflammatory response, like everything. Now, progesterone, which is the hormone that calms you down and helps you to sleep, starts declining first. Before estrogen even starts to drop significantly, you're often already progesterone deficient, which means you're anxious, you can't sleep, you feel like you're losing your mind. Yeah. And testosterone, yes, women need testosterone too. That starts declining in your 30s. And low testosterone means low energy, low motivation, low libido, and increased difficulty in building muscle and burning fat. Now, here's where conventional medicine often fails you. Most standard labs check estradiol on day 3 of your cycle. And that one number on that one day becomes the verdict on your hormonal health. That is not comprehensive. Listen, that's not even enough information to understand what's happening in your body. Now, when I work with women, we look at a full hormonal panel at the right time in their cycle. We look at trends over time because hormonal imbalance is not always about absolute numbers. It's often about the ratio between hormones and the pattern of fluctuation. This is root cause number 1. And this is foundational because if your hormones are dysregulated, everything else is going to be harder to fix. Got that? Number 2, chronic inflammation. Now let's talk about inflammation. And I want to be really, really crystal clear here because when most people hear inflammation, they think like a sprained ankle or a cough or cold, the flu, something like that. They think of something you can see and feel acutely, right? But chronic systemic inflammation is completely different. It is low grade, constant, invisible, and it is devastating to your body over time. Think of it as like a slow burning fire in your cells. You can't see it, and your regular blood work doesn't catch it because standard labs don't include the right inflammatory markers, but it is quietly burning up your energy, disrupting your hormones, damaging your gut lining, affecting your brain function, and driving weight gain, especially around the midsection. What causes chronic inflammation in high achieving women? That's the question you're asking. What is it specifically? Well, the list is pretty long, but things like chronic stress, sleep deprivation, processed foods, gut dysbiosis, environmental toxins, and yes, hormonal imbalance often triggers inflammation itself. These things feed each other, okay? They're interconnected. Here's something I tell my clients all the time: you're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, you are inflamed. And an inflamed body does not respond to willpower, it responds to the right interventions. Now, when we run a proper inflammatory panels like high sensitivity CRP, homocysteine, ferritin, and others, we almost always find elevated markers in the women who come to see me. Women whose previous doctors ran normal labs because they weren't running the right labs. Okay? Now, chronic inflammation is root cause number 2. And until we address it directly, everything else you do for your health will be less effective. Okay. Number 3. This is a big one: insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction. This is root cause number 3. And it surprises a lot of women. Okay. Insulin resistance. I need you to understand something so that you're crystal clear. You do not have to be diabetic. You do not have to have a blood sugar problem that shows up on standard labs. You can have significant insulin resistance and have a perfectly normal fasting glucose and a perfectly normal A1C and still have your metabolism completely stuck. Insulin resistance is when your cells stop responding efficiently to insulin. Insulin is the hormone that allows glucose, or sugar to enter your cells for energy. Now, when your cells become resistant to that signal, your pancreas just makes more insulin to compensate. And high circulating insulin is one of the most powerful drivers of fat storage, especially abdominal fat, and one of the biggest reasons that diet and exercise alone stop working. Here's the kicker: estrogen helps maintain insulin sensitivity. So, as estrogen fluctuates and declines during perimenopause, your risk of developing insulin resistance goes up significantly. And this is why so many women hit their 40s, start doing everything right, eating the same way they always did, right? Exercising, and the weight won't move. It's not a character flaw. It is a hormonal and metabolic shift that your approach has not accounted for. See, we catch insulin resistance through the right labs, fasting insulin levels, not just fasting glucose, Homo IR calculations, and other markers that look at function, not just thresholds. Got it? This is root cause number 3. And it is one of the most treatable and the most transformative things we address in my program. Okay? Root cause number 4. This is this is hitting women hard. Cortisol dysregulation. Now, I like to call this one the executive's Achilles heel. And if you're a CEO, a senior leader, or a high achiever of any kind, this is the one for you. Okay? Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. It's produced by your adrenal glands, and it's designed to help you respond to acute stress, fight or flight response. In short bursts, it's life saving. The problem is, your body can't distinguish between running from a lion and sitting in a board meeting knowing you got 3 deadlines, a difficult conversation, a sick parent, and a team in crisis. To your adrenal glands, stress is stress. Okay? And when you've been in high stress mode for years, which many of you have, your HPA axis, which is your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the stress response system, becomes dysregulated. Now, and you might swing between cortisol that's too high, you're wired and tired, you're anxious, you can't sleep, your weight piling on around your midsection, blood sugar swings, or cortisol that's too low. You are completely flat. No motivation. Crushing fatigue that coffee cannot touch. And here is the particular cruel part. This sucks. Cortisol dysregulation interferes with every other hormone in your body. It suppresses progesterone. That's why you can't sleep. It interferes with thyroid hormone conversion. It drives insulin resistance. It increases inflammatory markers. Cortisol dysregulation doesn't show up on standard blood work. You need a 4-point salivary or Dutch urine test to see what your cortisol is actually doing throughout the day. And most conventional providers don't order this. I always do. This is root cause number 4. Okay. Number 5. Thyroid dysfunction. Okay. Root cause number 5 is the one I believe is the single most missed diagnosis in women over 45. It's thyroid dysfunction. The thyroid is the small butterfly shaped gland at the base of your neck, right here. And it controls literally everything. controls your metabolism, like everything, your energy production, your weight, your body temperature, your heart rate, your cognitive function, your mood, your GI motility, like everything. Everything goes through the thyroid. Here is the problem. The standard of care for thyroid testing is to check a TSH, as thyroid stimulating hormone. And if it's within normal range, you're told your thyroid is fine. But the thyroid is a pituitary hormone. The pituitary is in your brain. It tells you what the pituitary is asking for, not what your thyroid is actually delivering. And to understand thyroid function, you need a free T3, a free T4, a reverse T3, and thyroid antibodies like TPO and TGAB, which check for Hashimoto's thyroiditis, the most common cause of hypothyroidism, which is autoimmune. Okay? Cannot tell you how many women I've seen who were told for years that their thyroid is normal based on TSH alone, while they're walking around with subclinical hypothyroidism or early stage Hashimoto's. That is absolutely driving their symptoms. And when we do comprehensive thyroid panels, we often find it. And when we treat it properly, which is not always just a prescription, by the way, okay, the transformation is remarkable. This, my friend, is root cause number 5. Now I'm going to let this sit with you. See which ones you have. You probably have about 3 of them. Okay. Now, let me summarize this for you. 5 root causes. Number 1, hormonal imbalance. 2, chronic inflammation. 3, insulin resistance. 4, cortisol dysregulation. And 5, thyroid dysfunction. Here's the critical thing, and this kind of sucks. These 5 don't work in isolation. They talk to each other. They amplify each other. When one is dysregulated, it makes the other ones worse. And this is exactly why treating symptoms one at a time, the way conventional medicine works, almost never works for women like you. You need a systems approach. That brings me to my next point. Like, why everything you've tried has not worked. And believe me, I know you tried it all. You've tried everything. I want to take a few minutes though on this because this really matters. You've been working super hard. You're tired and you're frustrated. And maybe somewhere in the back of your mind you're thinking, God, Dr. T, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I figure this out? I want to release you from that. Reason number 1 is you've been treating symptoms, not systems. Fatigue, you get an iron supplement. Mood swings, here's an antidepressant. Weight gain, here's a diet plan. Anxiety, here's a referral to a therapist. Now, none of these are inherently wrong. But if the root cause is hormonal imbalance, inflammation, and insulin resistance, those interventions are not actually addressing the problem. It's like mopping up a water without turning off the faucet, if you get my picture, right? Second reason, your labs were interpreted wrong. Like standard lab, like normal ranges are based on population averages. They were not designed with optimal function in mind. They were designed to tell you if you have a disease or not. But you can be deeply below your personal optimal and still be in normal range. And high achieving women are used to optimizing everything else in their life, businesses, teams, money, but have never been taught how to optimize their biology. Make it make sense? It doesn't. Reason number 3. You haven't slowed down enough to heal, chica. I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little bit. Many of my clients come to me and they want a protocol to follow while they keep doing everything else at the same pace. I understand that. I get it. That's who you are. You built that way. Like you saw problems. You like powered through. You are Shira. However, your nervous system has been in sympathetic overdrive, fight or flight, for so long that your body cannot heal in that state. Healing happens in the parasympathetic state, and creating space for that, not as a luxury, but as a medical intervention, non negotiable. Non negotiable. Reason number 4. You've been doing generic instead of personalized. Generic diets, generic supplements, generic workout plans. Your body's not generic. Your hormone profile is unique. Your inflammatory drivers are unique. Your metabolic type is unique. What worked for your friend, what worked for your sister, or that wellness influencer you follow might be completely wrong for you and could actually be making things worse, right? Reason number 5. Nobody has ever looked at it all together. It's not your fault. Like your gynecologist looks at your hormones. Your internist looks at your metabolic panel. Your endocrinologist, if you even got a referral, let's just be honest, will look at your thyroid. Nobody ever sat down and looked at your entire biology as an integrated system in context of your stress load, your lifestyle, your sleep, and your history. This is what I do. And that is what changes everything for you. Okay. Now that we talked about the problem, let's talk about how to fix it. Okay. Now I want to introduce you to the framework that I built over the years of clinical practice, research, working intimately with executive women who are like out of options. They're all out of options. I like to call it the 5 root reset framework. Okay. Or the elite reset for short. The core philosophy is this: sustainable, lasting transformation in a woman's health over 45 requires all 5 root causes be addressed, identified, and supported simultaneously in the right sequence with the right level of personalization. Now, let me walk you through the 5 phases of the framework. Okay? First phase, we got to put some light on it. Illuminate. You can't reset what you can't see. So the very first thing we do is run a comprehensive diagnostic. And I mean comprehensive, like we're everything. I'm not talking about a standard panel. We're talking about a full hormonal profile at the right time in your cycle. Advanced inflammatory markers, fasting insulin, and full metabolic function. Complete thyroid panel, including antibodies, adrenal function testing, gut health markers, and nutrient panels. We build a complete picture of your biology. And for most women, this assessment alone is revolutionary. They finally have the data that explains what they've been feeling for years. Now, this phase is about getting out of the dark and into the light, honey. All right. Phase 2 is restore. Okay. Once we have your data, we build a restoration protocol individualized to your biology. Now, this may include bioidentical hormone therapy if indicated, thyroid optimization, targeted supplements to support adrenal function and reduce inflammation, and metabolic interventions designed specifically for your insulin profile. I want to be crystal clear. This is not a cookie cutter protocol. What I prescribe for one woman may be completely wrong for the other, even with similar symptoms. The data drives the decisions. Okay? Third phase is reset. We got to reset. We got to reset the terrain of your body, specifically your inflammatory load and your gut health, because your gut is where about 70% of your immune system lives and where much of your hormonal metabolism happens. A dysregulated gut drives inflammation. Inflammation drives hormonal disruption, and the whole cycle feeds on itself. Now, in this phase, we use targeted nutrition therapy, not a generic diet, but a protocol designed around your inflammatory profile. We address gut dysbiosis, we reduce the toxic load, and we shift your body from a state of chronic inflammation to a state of healing. Got it? Fourth phase, recalibrate. Okay? This is what I call the executive intervention. I'm getting all up in your business, okay? Because this is where we address the nervous system. And for high achieving women, this phase is often the most transformative and the most uncomfortable because it requires a different relationship with your stress. Now, we work on the HPA axis regulation. We build personalized stress physiology protocols, not the generic meditate for 10 minutes advice, but real strategies designed around your life, your schedule, and your specific cortisol pattern. We address sleep quality because sleep is where healing actually happens. And no protocol works without sleep. Okay. Now, this phase is where most women start to feel themselves again, like themselves. Not the exhausted version, but the original design, the original version. Okay. Phase number 5, optimization and longevity. Now, the fifth phase is where we shift from fixing to flourishing. Once your foundation has been restored, hormones balanced, inflammation reduced, metabolism optimized, cortisol regulated, now we focus on performance optimization, cognitive sharpness, physical vitality, longevity protocols. This is protection against cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, and cognitive decline. Okay? Because, like, for women over 45 who are at the top of their game, the goal is not just to feel better. No, the goal is to perform at the highest level for the next 20, 30, 40 years. The goal is to build a body that matches your ambition. That is the 5 root reset framework. 5 phases, all 5 root causes addressed, integrated, sequential, and personalized. Now, I want to be honest with you. This is not a quick fix. This is a 12-month transformation because your biology took years to get dysregulated. And real healing takes time. Anyone, and I mean anyone who promises you a 30-day reset or a 6-week transformation is not giving you real medicine. They're giving you a marketing campaign. Now, what I am offering you is a real clinical experience with a board certified physician who has given 20 plus years of her life to women's health that will fundamentally change how your body functions and how you feel. Got it? Now, let me tell you about a couple of women like who've gone through the same process and come out on the other side. Okay? These are real transformations. All right? Got it? Now, one of my clients, came to me after seeing, several providers, different providers over 3 years. She was a senior executive, traveling, constantly running a large team, dealing with enormous pressure. By the time she found me, she had chronic brain fog so severe she was beginning to question whether she could stay in her role, in her current position. She gained weight despite exercising 5 days a week. She felt inflamed all the time, joint pain, skin issues, digestive problems. And she was told repeatedly, everything's fine, everything's normal, you're good. Now, when we ran her comprehensive assessment, found 4 out of the 5 root causes fully active. Subclinical Hashimoto's thyroiditis, significant insulin resistance, elevated inflammatory markers, and a complete adrenal exhaustion. Right? She was exhausted. Within 4 months of our protocol, her brain fog was gone, joint pain was gone, skin issues resolved, and she lost 20 pounds. And she told me, like, Dr. T, I feel like I got my brain back. I feel like a new woman. Another client, similar profile, high achieving, over 45, completely plateaued. Couldn't lose weight, couldn't sleep, moody, unlike herself. And within 4 months on her protocol, she lost 25 pounds and says she has more energy now than she did when she was in her 30s. These are not outliers. These are what's possible for you when you address the root, not just the symptoms. Okay? Now, if you resonated with, if you got something out of this, now I want to talk to you about how we can work together, how I can support you. The Empowered Wellness Accelerator is my 12-month private coaching and clinical program. It is designed specifically for executive women over 45 who are done settling for normal and are ready to invest in truly optimal health. Here's what's included in the 12 months. You're going to get the comprehensive diagnostic assessment at the start of our time working together. We address the full 5 root evaluation, so we know exactly what your body needs. Okay? You get a fully personalized restoration protocol built from your data, hormone optimization, metabolic intervention, inflammatory reset, adrenal support, and thyroid management. We do monthly one-on-one strategy sessions with me directly, not a health coach, not an assistant, me. Continuous monitoring and protocol adjustment as your biology shifts and evolves throughout of our 12 months together. We're always tweaking things. And you get access to all of my proprietary resources, all of my educational materials, and a community of high achieving women who are on the same journey as you. And ongoing support in between our sessions so that you're never navigating this alone. Okay? Now, this program is not for everybody. It is an extensive, personalized, high touch clinical experience and requires real commitment in terms of time, in terms of showing up for yourself, and yes, in terms of investment. Now, the investment for the Empowered Wellness Accelerator is $25,000 for 12 months. Now, I want to say something about that number directly because I know how high achieving women think. I'm one of them. And you're probably doing the math right now in your head. Listen, you've invested in your education, your business, your team, your real estate. You have invested tens of thousands and dare I say hundreds of thousands in building your career. And this is the first time I want you to think about investing at that level in the infrastructure that runs all of it: your body, your brain, your health. Because here's the truth: if your health fails, none of that even matters. None of that stuff matters. The business, the title, the income, none of it matters, and none of it is accessible to you from a hospital bed or from a place of chronic, debilitating exhaustion. This is not a luxury purchase. It's not a Hermes bag. This is a strategic investment and the most important asset that you have, which is you. And if you watch this entire masterclass and something in you is saying, yes, this is exactly what I need, I want you to apply. Now, the application link is in the description below and in the pinned comment below. Fill out the application. Tell me where you are. I want to know what you've tried and what you're hoping for. Now, my team and I review every application personally. And if there's alignment, we'll schedule a conversation to talk about whether the accelerator is the right fit for you. I do not do sales calls. I do alignment conversations. If it's right, we move forward. If it's not the right time or the right fit, I will tell you honestly, because my goal is to help you. My goal is not to close a deal. Go ahead and apply today. Applications are reviewed on a rolling basis. I work with a limited number of clients, and that is by design, okay? Because the level of attention this program requires means I just cannot do this for everyone. Sis, your body is waiting for this. You have been waiting for this. It is time, honey, time now. Listen, I'm Dr. Tasheema Fair. I am the Unconventional OB, and I will see you on the other side. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share this with someone who needs it. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.